guys, today's Monday, January the 11th, and today I'm going to show you a couple things. Let's mark our calendar. I did a little art on Saturday. I don't know if you noticed the marking of the calendar. I haven't edited the video yet, so it's not up. I'll probably try to do that today. So let's get that off to the side to dry. Okay, before the end of January, I hope to get back to our last year's calendar and do January's page. I hope. Keep your fingers crossed that I get to do that. Okay, what I want to tell you about is over the weekend, and actually on Friday I think I started this, I had some projects I needed to do for something I'm working on, and I started off wanting to use my washi tape birds, which I showed you in a video how to make, which are very, very simple, very easy. So that should be probably the first video that I put up today. The second video will show you how I made these cards, and the reason they don't have the washi tape birds on them is because I didn't like how they turned out. So I was trying to figure out a way to make them look the way I like them so that I was happy with them, which I did in fact do. I love these now. I'm very happy with them. And I kept within my color theme. My color theme was white, pink, green, and black, and then brown paper bag, which you cannot see on the front, which is kind of why I wasn't happy because I covered it too much. And I didn't like how the birds were looking on here. I had to use white, pink, like I told you the colors. So the birds I had created for this, I didn't like them on there. So these are not what I intended, but that's how they turned out. So that's a separate video. I believe I'm going to separate the videos. I don't think I'll add them together. So if I don't add them together, the next video after this one, which would be up today, hopefully, maybe tomorrow, would be these. And this is how I wound up using my washi tape birds and my hearts that I cut out, and not these hearts, different hearts, to like them. I really liked how they let me figure out a way to show you. I like how these turned out a lot better than what the other ones turned out. Now, the other ones are beautiful. I love them. But for what I was going for, this works better for me. So, you can see the washi tape birds in the background, and the little hearts are the flower tops. If you turn the hearts around, you can tell that's a heart. And that's a heart. Just odd-shaped hearts that I cut out, and I just turned them into flowers because I make everything a flower. I make a bird a flower. It doesn't matter to me. I think everything should be flowers because they're beautiful. So that would be the next video. And here's the washi tape birds I was talking about, and here's some hearts that I made more actual heart-shaped, I think from a stencil. The ones that I did over here were just hand-cut by me. They're not stencils. So anyway, that led me to, after I cut these out, that led me to, and let me clear off these. I just wanted to show you and give you an update, a recap. Put these off to the side. That led me to these, which is where I needed to go in the first place because I have another video I need to do. I have these little scraps, and I save them because I save my scraps. Most of the time I save things that are a good shape to use. I may throw something like this away, but I kept these because I knew this video was coming up. That leads us to the next video for the Mixed Media Morsels group that I'm following with Kathy Hand, and creating in a journal using different techniques to have a record of techniques or inspiration to refer back to. And I've got a video out in a playlist called Mixed Media Morsels, and you can go and see the first video where I show you the book I'm using and what it's all about, and I link to the group and I link to Kathy's page. The first technique we did was using the cling wrap, I'm gonna get tongue-tied here. It's plastic wrap where you paint and put down your wrap. Now, I plan to do a page with black gesso as the background. This is white gesso. So I'm going to skip a page and go to the next video today, which is going to be about collaging. And her video, and I'll link to her video. I don't know if I linked to the video or the playlist. I can't remember how I did that, but either way, you'll be able to find it. is using little scraps that you save. And because I save scraps, because I love to use my scraps, as you can see some of the past videos I've done where I create something with scraps. Actually, I'll show you real quick. This is created using scraps. And there's a video about this, so you can go back and refer to the video called Laugh Paper Bag Journal Page, something like that. So I'm going to work on the page that she's done for the next technique, which is using your scraps. And this is part of them because I cut these washi tape things out off of index cards. You can tell the little lines on the back. And that will fit in with my little bag here that I save of little tiny scraps. Now these aren't as small as hers. She does save smaller scraps than I do believe. I think the smallest I save is, you can tell, some of the pieces in here, well, when I empty it out, you'll be able to tell. Some of the pieces in here are the smallest I've saved. But I'm going to break them down to use them because I believe they're the perfect size. I have a baggie. Believe me, this isn't all the scraps I have. It's just the ones I've organized. I've got some packed away that I haven't organized, and I've got some over there in a bag that I forgot about. But I have a baggie of these, which is the small ones, and I have a baggie of medium size, and I'll show you those real quick. This is medium-sized scraps, and you can tell there's long strips and then bigger pieces in here. And then I have a baggie that's bigger, that has bigger scraps. And then I have, in the bottom of the bin where I keep these, big scraps. Big things that can't fit into a baggie, or even ones that are like almost whole sheets that I've only cut parts out that I still consider a scrap because, you know, I can't put it back in the brand new paper bin, so I put it in my scrap bin to use when I need something. So that's where we're going, if you understand, if you're following me. Okay? So in her video, she took a bunch of different scraps and she started collaging down, and she was sure to use some black to bring out the colors and make it pop, and I will look for some black in here too. If I don't find any, I'll create my own because I have enough scraps here to last a lifetime and probably everybody else's lifetime, so why not use them? And I tell you, I've been on a mission to use my scraps. I honestly have since, I don't know, last year sometime, and I can't seem to make a dent in them. I did a 40 video project using scraps and had billions of scraps left over. I've done scrap pages, my book that I showed you in my share video that I work with scraps, and because you may be new and haven't been following along, I'll skip the small book. I have a small book and a large book. Where'd you guys go? There you are. Where I'm creating pages using my scraps. I started doing this a little while back, and I won't go through every page slowly again. But those are all made from scraps, and I've got the next page lined up ready to go. This is all scraps, ready to go. And I'll do that on film for you probably, I don't know, hopefully this week sometime. It depends on what happens in my life. I'm waiting. My life's on hold right now, and I'm waiting to see what the next event's going to be. Then I'll know when I can film and when I can't. So that's just the way it goes. All right, so I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute. But first, let me show you. I don't want to sort and tear and get these ready while you're watching because I think that's a little bit too much for you guys to have to go through. But I'll show you. I'm gonna keep these to the side. This is just a bunch of little pieces of book text, and there's wrapping paper in one of my bins. I don't think it's in this one, but you can use wrapping paper, tissue paper. I save everything. I've got some little manila envelope tags where I cut some little tags out from manila, and all kinds of different cardstocks, and where I've done punched out little flowers. So this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to break it down into small pieces, probably around that size, maybe a little bigger. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to use. But I'm going to be selective here and go through and see what I like, because I want to create a page that has the colors on it that I really like. I just don't want to use the scraps just for hodgepodge like I do on my books. The reason on my books I don't really care about the color theme is because I cover most of it and I bring out the shapes, so I bring in my own color. But on this, since it's a technique book, I don't plan to cover it up. She does put an initial on hers. I may do a little one on mine, I'm not sure. But I don't want to cover my page. I want it to show that it was a technique using collage, because my book's going to be left more of a technique referral book. That's what I'm planning. So I want to be careful what I use, because I want it to be pretty when I look at it, okay? So let me go off camera. I will come back in a second when I'm all prepared. I'm going to have some tea, if I can get the honey to stir up in there, and give you guys time to go do whatever you got to do, and we'll be back here in a flash. I'm sorting my scraps out, and I'm coming across little pieces like this, so I guess I do save little pieces. So I just thought I'd share that with you real quick. I mean, look at this. It's a little circle. Oh my goodness. We're so bad. We save all kinds of things, don't we? All right, let me finish this and I'll be back in a second. I've got a little bit of a stack here built up. I'm going to show you a couple of things. I saved these that came off of a stack of bills that equaled $1,000 and one that equaled $2,000. One of them I might have found. One of them I think was when we had some business to do with our company, and yeah, it is. And I just kept it because I thought it was cool. I may incorporate that in there, I don't know, because I might have 1,000 pieces in here by the time I'm done. I'll set it to the side. This is a little piece of old masking tape that says $3 on it. It came off a piece of fabric I bought at an antique mall, a big piece of feed sack fabric, I think, and I might use that. This is just a little tab I cut out that I didn't use, so something like that might go in there. This is a piece of doily that I used and cut around, so you can see that there's all kinds of different things. I don't have any wrapping paper in this one. I have a tag that I decided not to use that didn't turn out, I guess, the way I thought. I don't know. I stuck it in the scrap bin. I might use that, maybe. And then a bunch of little pieces. I don't have to cut a bunch of them. There's a bunch already small. I will have to tear some of them, but not maybe as many as I thought. So I've got a stack here, and there's some punched things and things I cut out freehand that I didn't use. I think these are all freehand. Maybe that's a punch, that's freehand. And some pattern paper and some tissue paper and all kinds of stuff like that. And deli paper where I jelly printed and then didn't use it all. So I've got some of that in there, and I'll set that to the side. I mean, look at that. Look how tiny. That had to be an accident. I would not save that. So I want to kind of get organized here, and then we'll get started. I also set aside, I've got my bag here because in case I need more, we've got more here on hand. I separated out my little washi tape pieces because I kind of want those to be on top because I love the colors, but I don't know, it may not work out that way. We'll see what happens. And then I have a little stack here with some predominantly black pieces so that I can bring out the colors and put little black pieces on there afterwards like she did. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my book, and got a piece of paper behind it to protect the back piece. And we're going to get started here. And now I am going to fast forward through this because it is a long process and there's no need for you to have to sit here through the whole thing. So I will fast forward, and I may even cut out some of it, you know, so you can see kind of a start to finish type thing, or start, middle, finish, I don't know. And then when we get to the end, I'll show you what I'm going to do next, which is, who knows, I don't know. And I only know when I get there. And so when I get there, I'll let you know because you'll know when I know. All right, let's get started, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. I work on my book like this. It's a little unusual for me. I've opened it all the way up so this page lays on the non-stick mat by itself, and that way I can see it better because with the white page behind it, it blends in too much. And also, if I get any of the Mod Podge or whatever I'm using, I think I'm going to use decoupage for this one because it's sitting right here. If it gets through the little holes here, it'll not mess up the next page, so I don't have to worry so much. So that's what we're going to do, okay? And you can take these books apart. Take this spiral off just by opening just a little bit and taking off all the pages. But I just find that to be too much hassle for my taste because I wouldn't want to put it back together. But, you know, maybe it's worth doing. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do one and just see how it goes and see how I like it. I've never done it, so I guess I shouldn't say it's not for my liking, but, you know, that is an option. Okay, now we gotta go very, very fast. Here's where we're at so far. A couple things I did different was, first of all, my pieces were not as small. I was going to tear them, but I decided not to. Another thing is I don't normally like flat edges. Let me get my little pointer. I don't normally like flat edges like this when I'm doing something like this, but I went ahead and put it down anyway. I'm going to trim the edges because I did overlap a little bit. And I'm going to dry this a little bit, and then I'm going to come back, and I don't know if you know me or not yet, if you've watched my videos or not, but I usually can't leave well enough alone. I want to go ahead and go a little further with this. I am going to leave some of this so that I can tell what the technique was all about, but I've got to do a little more to this to make me feel good and make me happy, even though this is just fine the way it is. It's just me. So I'm going to dry this and I'm going to come back and then I'll share with you what I'm going to do next. Okay, what I've decided to do, I was going to cut out a shape by hand to use as my mask, but then I decided no. And then I was going to use a stencil that I have with an L on it, but I don't really want to put my initial on here. So I decided I wanted to do, I was looking over here, I just glanced over and I saw my little ATCs that I had done, and I really, really love how the hearts turned out. And they're freehand cut, but I decided to use a stencil instead to make it easier on myself. So I grabbed my stencil. I think it's a Crafter's Workshop stencil, and it's just hearts. And I picked this one here down at the bottom because it's open. And I'm going to turn it upside down and find a spot on here that I want to trace it, and I don't know if pencil will show, so I may have to use something else, a pen that maybe marks on here, I'm not sure. And then I went and found a Simply Stencils by Plaid leaf stencil that I have that I want to possibly use, but I want to get my heart down first and see how I like it. So that's the next step. Maybe I'll just use my Sharpie and I'll trace around it. But let me find a section, and the reason the stencil is so cool is because you can find the area that you really like to put your heart or whatever you're going to use. You can make a small one and a partial tall one. I'm thinking that I'm going to just go with kind of right there. It kind of encompasses everything right there. It's got colors, it's got maybe right there. Okay, I think I'll go there. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is I tear out this page and do another one, right? I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen. A lot of this is going to be covered, I have to say, so I want to be careful because I am going to cover a lot of this collage. I'm just going to leave enough here. I really like this section down here. I wish it was up here, but it's not, so we'll just go with it. All right, let's just do it. Maybe right there instead. Yeah, let's do that instead. All right, I'm just going to trace around it. That takes a second because your page is bumpy. And I don't even have to get the whole heart, just enough of it that I can see the general shape. All right, there's that. And then I want to take this, and let's see, that's kind of a cool shape, leaf, maybe that one. I kind of like this one too. And I can't use this for that, it's too thick. All right, I'm gonna think a minute and I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, the next thing I did was I kind of sketched out a little stem. It's real sketchy, it's just gonna be covered, so it's not important to be straight or anything. Then I took my leaf and I placed it where I wanted it and sketched around it with my pen. And you can't see it very well, but I can see it enough. So I think that's all I want on here. And it's going to cover a lot. Like I said, it's going to cover a whole lot. But I'll still know what I did. I'll still know what the general idea was. So let me find a brush and we'll get started. I'm going to take black paint and I'm going to get started, and you'll see what I'm doing. I don't have to explain it, and I'm just going to fast forward this part. Okay, here's where we're at so far. You saw what I did. I painted around the stencil that I drew in. I really like it so far. One thing I was going to tell you about is, first of all, you can see the collaging underneath the black paint still. It's not quite dry and it's not an even coat. I put it on top of Collage or decoupage, so it didn't stay as well. It sort of smeared around, which is fine. This first coat is kind of like a base coat, I guess. Had I known I was going to do this, I might not have collaged as much on top, or collage-paged as much on top. Actually, it's collage. This is deco-page. I keep saying decoupage. There's so many different kinds. I might not have put as much sealer on top of the paper had I known I was going to do this technique. It's kind of like a masking. But I decided at the last minute, so it couldn't be avoided. But anyway, so I can still see my collaging here and here. And the stem is a little wonky because there's a black piece of paper taped here, or sealed here. So it kind of interferes with the stem and makes the stem look like it's missing right here. And I'm okay with that. I could bring in a strip of paper and glue it in there. It's kind of tiny to do that, so I don't know. I may not mess with it. I may just leave it like that. I'm kind of liking it. What I'm going to do is I've dried it a little bit with a heat gun. I'm going to let it dry naturally a little bit more. Go take care of Bailey. And you can see the textures in there. See the textures? I'm kind of turning it toward the light, the sunlight. A lot of different textures underneath there where all the papers are, and I love that. I'm going to let it dry naturally while I go feed Bailey and take her out, and when I come back, I'm going to put another coat of black on to kind of finish this off a little bit, and then I might go into my scrap papers again and do a little bit more collaging. I may do a little bit out here. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I really like how this is turning out so far, so I'm pleased, I have to say. Okay, I will be back, and y'all take a lunch break or something too, and I'll see you in a flash. Hey guys, I'm back, and this is pretty dry, so I thought I'd show you real quick before I went and did anything else to it. Very textury, very, well, there. I think you can see that. All the little layers we put on, very collagey. They're still showing through. I'm debating on putting another coat on, but I think I will. And I could use black gesso, but I think I'll just go ahead and stick with the acrylic paint. I'm going to do it off camera. I have to glue down this piece. Whenever you have a little piece that pops up, just stick a little glue underneath there and push it down. You'll be fine. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to go around all this again with black. I'm going to give it a good dry. And then I'll come back, and if I do anything more to it, I'll let you know what I'm going to do. And look at this, guys. Look at this big old mug I've got. It's a, well, I wish I could put it sideways. My hand, I have long fingers, but this mug is as big as my hand. It's got the state of Florida on it, where I'm at right now. And if I could turn it sideways, I'd show you the area that I'm at, but I can't. If I empty my glass before this is over, which I doubt I will, I'll show you, but it's really cool. I've got it as a keepsake because this is my home state. It's where I'm from. But I don't know where I'll be in a few weeks, so months, whatever. But anyway, Florida is where I'm from, and that's where I'm at right now. So I like this mug, and I got it, and it's just huge. So I'm having my water in it. So I will be back with you guys in a minute after I do this, okay? What I've done next is taken some of the green out of my scrap bag, and I just hand cut little strips in odd shapes for little grass pieces. And I was just putting them out to see how I liked them, and I think I'm gonna kind of clump them up like that a little bit and just put them on, collage them on. I have to do a couple more here, and we're good to go. So I'll do that in fast forward in a second. Actually, I'm not going to do that in fast forward because it'll just be the same thing you saw me do, collaging down. And because they're tiny little strips, it'll take me a minute to fumble around and pick them up and get them situated. So I'll just do that off camera, come back and show you what I've done. Okay, the last thing I've done, I took my Sharpie poster paint pen and I just did a little swirl around the edge, and now I'm going in a couple of areas and I'm just doing a little squiggly, just nothing, a little squiggly nothing. That's what that is, a little squiggly nothing. And we're gonna call this done. I could keep playing with it, but I'm not. I want to leave this a technique book, like I said, and I have a tendency to keep going and going and going and then just work on it till it's a complete page. And it's kind of a complete page now compared to the first one, the wrap technique, the plastic wrap technique, but that's okay. I'm good with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is, probably after this dries, I'm going to go in and do my black gesso plastic wrap technique. I'm not going to do that on camera. I've already showed you how to do it on this one, and there's videos by other artists that have done it, and Kat's got her playlist ready and her technique video that she started this whole thing with that you can look at. So I'm just going to do it off camera, but when I get it ready and I do the next page, I will show you how it turns out. I think it'll be pretty. So just a close-up of this page, the collage technique. I kind of just did a little spin on it, my own little twist. You can see all the texture underneath there, all the papers layered, and I just covered them with black paint. You saw, I did the video and you saw, so. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you have a great day. I will see you again in the next video, whenever that may be. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.